Right here. Yeah, I'm Bob. I'm an artist and illustrator. I basically color for a living.
Why do you love GLC?
I love GLC because GLC is okay with me.
What are you doing?
I was living in Colorado Springs with my family, and we were moving back. And about that time, I was completely done with church. I had given up on it, but I knew my brother Gordon was attending a new church, and I thought, he's strange, but he's sincere and authentic. So I thought, if that church was okay with him, it might be okay with me. So it was maybe a week, and Pastor Dave found out that I had some design experience in agencies, and he asked me if I would want to help with some of the design here. And I don't know if you know this, but I've been a designer here for like 5 years, doing like mailers and series graphics and the like. But enough about me. Let's talk about what I came here to talk about. Great Lakes Church is growing up, and as such, we need a new logo.
Hey, Bob, we need a new logo. Thanks. So what's wrong with the logo that we got?
You know that logo was never really ours to begin with. I'm not going to say Dave stole it, but he did borrow it when he started the church. Our current logo doesn't reflect who we are, and it doesn't really inspire us to be who we want to become. It's kind of like if my mom still picked out my clothes for me today. We've been thinking about who we are, and God has brought GLC to this area for a purpose, and shouldn't our design reflect that purpose? You know who cares about design? God cares about design. Good example. All right, I think it's in Exodus, or God wants his people to build a box to put all the laws in that they followed. And it's called the Ark of the Covenant. And he doesn't just ask them to build a box. He asked them to build a box like this. So God told them to make the box out of acacia wood, not just any wood, and to cover it in gold. And they couldn't just carry it. He said to make rings out of gold for these acacia wood poles to carry it, and to put 4 feet on the bottom of it, and the lid should have specific kinds of angels made out of gold on it as well. So we know God cares about design, but what is Great Lakes Church gonna do about it? So we know God cares about design, but what is Great Lakes Church gonna do about it? Great Lakes Church gonna do about it?
Hey, Bob, we need a new logo. Thanks.
It's a funny thing, rebranding. It can feel like we don't like who we are and that we want to change, but that's not it. Instead, we've recognized we've already changed. Remember when I told you that Dave borrowed the logo? He wasn't the only one. Let me show you what happened. Once upon a time, there was a church in Seattle, Washington named East Lake Community Church. Pastor Dave was on staff there, but after a few years he became restless. He wanted to start a church in his hometown. In that transition, he used the East Lake logo and changed the name to Great Lakes Church. But Dave wasn't the only one. There were many churches planted out of the East Lake network that used that logo or some variation of it. We love that. We love being a part of like-minded church planners. We love the legacy. We wouldn't change a thing. But like I said, we've grown up a bit. And like any organization that's grown, it's time to think about how we represent ourselves. It's time to get creative. think about this. In the late 70s, Apple launched with a completely different logo. Could you imagine this on the back of your iPhone? Or how about every time you boot up your PC, this is what Microsoft's logo still looked like? Or even McDonald's, renowned for their golden arches, had this. And believe me, every time those companies got a refresh, there was pushback. You may be attached to the old logo. You may find some comfort in the brand that represents the church family you first called home. We get it. It reminds me of the Bible stories where God actually calls people to change their identity. One of the first examples I can think of would be Abram, the father of our faith. God told him to change his name to Abraham. And then there was Simon, who Jesus said would be the rock on which he built his church. He changed his name to Peter. But as God worked in them, as he worked in their lives, they experienced transformation. We would be foolish to deny the way he's changing us. We're at a turning point. We believe that God has big things in store for us. Just kidding. You didn't really think we were going to show you the new logo, right? Okay, no more teasers. We are going to show you the new logo, but it's only appropriate that we bring you along on the process. We started with over 20 ideas. Some were good and some not so good. Over the past couple weeks, we've even received some submissions from you as to what you'd like to see in the new logo. Some were good and some not so good. But ultimately, the team came around and unanimously agreed on one direction. It started with a sloppy sketch that began to take on a ton of meaning the more we pondered it. Here is the final product. The new logo represents water. It looks back at our old logo in a way that honors where we've been and also points us toward progress. In life, the waves on a body of water are never still. And while this representation of a wave is static, we know that it means we're moving forward. It has 3 significant pieces to it. Those pieces signify where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. Where we've been is our legacy, our history, our origin. It's the part of the logo that signifies our beginnings and the past 9 years of doing church in southeast Wisconsin. In the Bible, the Israelites built up monuments on the ground to remember where they've been and to honor God. Where we are is our current journey. The practical stuff that you guys are making real every single day. The things that make GLC unique and accessible to anyone and everyone who's making Jesus their way of life. Where we're going is the kingdom of heaven reality. The no longer, but not yet. The no longer alone. The no longer lost. The no longer bound. But not yet fully awake. Not yet perfect. Not yet there. When I think of the way Jesus asked us to pray, one line stands out to me. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Jesus has already told us the end of the story, and he's inviting everyone to be a part of it. That's me. That's you. This rebranding is a refocusing of our story. Like I said before, we're at a turning point, and you're right here with us. In the future, we'll probably have a new logo, but that logo will be inspired by your efforts, your work, your story. We've told you our story. We want to know yours. No, really, we actually want to know your actual story. We invite you to be a part of this no longer but not yet revelation with us. You are no longer who you once were, and God willing, you are not yet who you're going to be. And we want to know about it. As a creative team, we've already begun collecting your stories, and we want to open that up to the rest of you. We believe that no matter where you're at in your spiritual journey, your story can encourage others. Bring us your messy, broken, no longer but not yet selves, and we'll work together to build this greater story.